Lovely seeing so many. I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited today. You probably can see it, and that's because we're going to talk about something I am thrilled to encourage you to implement in your life, and that's a quantum leap so that you can get truly exponential results in business and in life. So first, let me ask you this. Does anyone know what a quantum leap is? It's commonly used, but does anyone know like where it comes from or what does this entail? Feel free to either put it in a chat or unmute yourself. Because if we're going to talk about it, we might as well figure out, well, what is it? What is your idea of a quantum leap?
It would be a leap that is exponential rather than step by step.
Beautifully said, Kathy. Exactly, 100%. So today we're going to break down exactly what it takes in your business to get that kind of squared or tripled power in whatever you do. So if you're excited, put I'm in the chat. Let's see who's ready for some leaping. And while you're doing this, I'm going to take you on a journey of physics. So how many of you enjoyed studying chemistry and physics and all that jazz? And you probably remember, Kathy says, yeah. Okay. So you remember the traditional model of an atom, which has a nucleus in the middle with the proton and neutron. And then this funny electron running around on an orbit, just doing its thing without any vodka, still going in circles and circles and circles, right? Well, quantum leap came actually from study of physics, and it means that this particle, which really is subparticle, is able to jump from one orbit to another out of the blue. So physicists started studying an electron and its trajectory, wondering, well, how come it moves from one direction to another and it takes no effort? Hence, it's been designed as a quantum leap, that amazing shift where you were running your life on this trajectory and out of the blue, you're somewhere else. And when applied to our life, it has enormous ramifications because traditional approach to success is, just like Kathy said, one little step at a time. But sometimes in business, we want to speed up. We want to create more impact, more freedom, more revenue. And that's when quantum leap becomes super, super handy. So let's talk about it. Rachel says like jumping timelines. Exactly. And that's what I'm going to encourage you to do today. So we're going to go through conceptually what it takes, but we will also make it super easy for you to adapt in your life, because I believe that everything that we look at should be about easy practices that can be put in place immediately. Okay, so let's talk about just how most entrepreneurs operate on. And that unfortunately is hardship. So when you try harder, because we were told just work more, right? My mom recently laughed at me and said, Dagmar, working more produces what? Does anyone know what working more produces? What result you get out of working more? You get working more. That's
You get tired.
Yeah, you get tired, exactly. But per law of attraction, what we do expands. So a lot of business owners feel like, oh, I've got 10 marketing strategies going on. Well, I'm just going to add another 5, right? Well, yeah, you're going to get just 5 additional marketing strategies. Perhaps the results that we seek do not depend on how much we work, but what actions we take, because more of the same gives more of the same. Okay, so I love using mathematics when I teach these quantum concepts and personal transformation. And in my Financial Freedom Unleashed workshops, I always tell my clients, if you always have the result of 4, perhaps you've been adding 2 plus 2, but can you keep adding 2 plus 2 to get 10? In conventional mathematics, you cannot, which means something has to change, at least one digit. And that's what creates that quantum leap in our business. We simply have to challenge our status quo. We have to challenge where we are and disrupt our current behaviors. So this is the point number 1 for quantum leap. Whatever you're doing right now is producing more of what you're doing right now. Okay, so let's say whatever your revenue level is, whether it's 6 figures or $250,000 or $500,000, the steps you've been taking up to this point are guaranteed to produce the same results. But if you're here at this quantum leap session, then I reckon you want more. Don't you want more? Put some more in the chat. I want more. I'm ready for more. Let's see who's ready for this. And that means that you'll have to do something completely different. So, number 1, we're talking about a radical departure from your current attitudes, behaviors, patterns, everything that you're doing right now. Why? Because it's still just 2 plus 2. Okay. And to do that, you first have to look at second guessing what you've been doing. It's not that you're not successful. A lot of these strategies have been very good for where you are right now. But I bet where you're going next requires something different. So today I want to open your mind to constantly seeking something different. My brain is always on the lookout on something I have not done yet, because I know that if I haven't done it, it's guaranteed to produce a different result. And a quantum leap requires different. Otherwise, it's just gradual, incremental, one step at a time, never-ending journey to get somewhere, okay? So 1 is you need to do something new. And the only way to do something new is to let go of where you are now, or at least of some of the actions you take in business at this point. So again, this is not a judgment. Nobody's coming to say that you've been wrong in business. We're just playing with exponential growth. So let me give you an example. Around 4 or 5 years ago, I was exposed to the idea of a publicist. At that time, I had no desire to write any books. I was like, what a waste of a time. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, Kathy's laughing at me because she's got an amazing project with Linda and Leadership Global coming up. And we actually going to do a workshop on helping you overcome limiting beliefs around writing. But coming back to this, at that time, I didn't see the possibility. I didn't see the impact it will have for me and my business. But I knew that if I haven't done it before, then that's exactly what I need to do, that I need to lean into it because it's outside of my comfort zone. It's outside of what I have been doing, which means it's guaranteed to produce a new result. And it sure did. It opened me up to speaking at summits. It gave me credibility. It created enormous leverage when seeking opportunities. So let's start with exercise number 1. And that is, I would like you to think about your work right now, your business. It's a bit of a journaling, a bit of a reflection. For that particular area where you've put a lot of work, but you got very little result, can you think for a moment, what are the motions that you're going through? What are the attitudes? What are our behaviors attached to this? Something that's really not producing a result. I'll give you tangible, an idea. I used to be told that Facebook is the best for advertising for my niche. And perhaps it was, but it turned out not to be. So I gave myself permission to quit, which by the way, we'll talk a little bit more later, but that's also a principle of quantum leap. It's okay to quit what's not working. And yes, I invested in those ads, but they were not producing the outcomes that I desired. My brain has been programmed for seeking solution, for constantly looking for an idea, right? Because I want to be quantum leaping. So I go to another presentation and this very successful person says, I advertise on Eventbrite. And my bulb went up and said, you know what? I have not done that. I would not think that Eventbrite is my target audience. But what do I have to lose but a potential client and a few dollars? That's it. So I launched my Eventbrite campaign, and sure enough, I had clients in no time. So did I just quantum leap? Did I go somewhere where I thought it was uncharted territory? You know, did I think this is not my audience? Yes, 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 and yes, but it did produce results, which brings me to another principle of quantum shift. And that is you need to be open to risk. When you are an entrepreneur, when you're a business owner, the moment you stop taking brand new actions, you become stale. You know that saying that unless you're moving forward, then you're actually going backward, right? We need to give ourselves permission to try new things. And to do that, we have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's just way of living. And usually it's the doubts that start ringing up when we try to do something different. And that's just part of your brain called the limbic system and amygdala that is always searching for danger, that tigers that coming out of woods that hasn't come out in 2,000 years, but we're still looking for it, right? So when you realize that your brain is actually working against you unless properly trained, then you start ignoring that tiger and you make fear your friend. Because when you've got that, you know, Kathy says, hey, let's do the project together with Linda. We've got this book coming and it's amazing. And you're like, oh, I've got this stomach that is squeezed. I ain't gonna do it. That's actually your whole psyche telling you you're on the right path. Something's cool about to happen. You're gonna play big. You're gonna be big. You have no idea what you can accomplish when you just write that book. So lean into fear instead of letting you pull back. Okay, how do we feel about it? Are we ready to conquer those fears? Yes, I see a lot of yeses. All right. And why do we allow fear to control us? Because we have all these concepts of being judged. What if I tell them that I wrote a book and it flops? Or what if I tell them that I'm going to invest in ClickFunnels and my website went down? Or I'll do a big event and nobody shows up. That means, you know, I'll be perceived as a failure. Well, as soon as I started my business back in 2010, I realized that failure will always be part of our journey. But I don't see it as such. I think it's actually a nasty word, like it feels so bad. I look at this as a possibility to adapt. So agility is absolutely critical for quantum leaps because nobody's alpha and omega. Being, you know, I wrote an article, one of my very first articles back in 2015 was, what is the definition of an expert? And to me, that's a person that made every possible mistake, So now they're teaching you what not to do. Can you be expert by reading a book? Perhaps. But if you kind of did this campaign and it didn't work, and you tried this kind of recruitment technique and it didn't work, over time, you're accumulating golden nuggets. You're accumulating wisdom. So for me, it's okay to make mistakes. I will always make them. The question is what you do afterwards. And that's when you adopt this mind that says, you know, I am constantly learning, I am constantly expanding. There's absolutely no need for me to look at myself as less off or not as smart or not as wise. In fact, I've just become an expert in not doing Facebook ads for my niche. I think that's pretty darn cool, don't you think? Right? All right, so let's try to put it together, because as you can see, when I get excited, I don't even look at my notes. I'm quantum leaping my notes. So 1, we talked about identifying your current patterns so you can jump out of them. In fact, in my programs, Unlock Your Success, we incorporate the scrambling of your current behaviors, because we constantly run on automatic. And when you're not aware of what you're doing, you cannot change it. Awareness is the key to change. So sometimes we have to push ourselves out of that daily routine with micro habits in order to see what's running you. And I'll give you a cool little technique to immediately make yourself uncomfortable. If you're always brushing teeth with your right hand, try waking up for the next 7 days and brush with the left. You'll be acutely aware of what you're doing while brushing your teeth, right? Can you see how that will start throwing you off? But the cool thing about being taken out of your current routine is that you've been living in a house with the doors closed, blinds shut down, and there's not a lot of fresh air. The moment you do something different, the brain starts opening eyes wide and starts searching for possibility. So your creativity goes up. You start really looking into, I've heard, but Leadership Global is a very cool organization where I can meet other badass business women. I think I'm gonna join. And Linda's phenomenal in helping you identify what you need and to find it. I think it's bloody amazing. Pardon my Polish. All right, so we know what to do. Number 2, we talk about reframing failure as a lesson. So here's journaling question number 2. Think about your recent mistake or what you perceive as a failure. What was it? And then write down what happened. How did it make you feel? Most importantly, what did you do next? So I'll give you an example. Back in 2015, I decided to create a fancy membership portal for Unlock Your Success program. And I hired a company in India that completely flopped it. So it became my gift to the Indian market. And honestly, in my entire entrepreneurial journey, that's the only time I cried, because my program was launched on March 15th. And as of March 14th, I still had no portal. I had no way to deliver the content to my clients. And one might say, okay, let's just shut it down. You know, I'm a failure. Nothing's going on, blah, 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 blah. No, my brain immediately went into solutions. And that is a sign of a quantum brain. It constantly searches for outcome or for way to mitigate the problem. In fact, in Unlock Your Success, this is the foundational exercise. We train your brain to discard the perception of failure and keep asking questions for a solution until you find it, right? It says, all right, this is not working. So what is the solution? You go and ask mentors. Linda is an amazing mentor. If I have a problem, she's on my speed dial, and she's got an amazing wealth of advice. So for all of you, if you need ever to figure out what to do with your business, just schedule a call. But that's the sign of the brain that searches for that next shift, right? And you can create that mindset within yourself. Don't worry about the failure. You worry about, what do I do next? So what did I do next? I researched solutions, bought myself a full suite marketing, membership portal, and a delivery system. And I had a membership portal set up in 24 hours at a fraction of cost. There I was. Not only I had my portal, but I quantum leaped, because now I went from MailChimp, which was always ending up in junk mail, to this fancy software, Kartra, that I came to love a lot and run my entire system off. And now I up leveled. Now I had marketing, I had ClickFunnels, I had a website, I had everything you wanted. Was I ready for it there? No. But that's another principle of quantum leap. You guys ready? I want to see some heads shaking. Nobody sleeping? Good, because we don't have time in quantum leaping for sleeping, okay? No snoozing. So here's what's going on. You make your move before you're ready. Oh my God, I'm going to do this before I'm ready. No. Yes. The answer is yes. It's like getting pregnant. Who's ever ready for that, right? Every mother in the room here, can you raise your hand? Yeah, you're not ready. And neither you will be for quantum leap, because that's the definition of it. You're doing something so out of ordinary, something you have never done, something you have never even thought about before. So how on earth can you be ready for it? It's impossible to prepare for it. But that's when you can leverage the next quantum principle, and that is to have faith. Visualize your progress. Visualize what you want to accomplish and go into trust. Because here's the cool principle from those quantum physicists who are geek as hell, but they have really awesome principles to apply in business. And that is that per quantum physics, if you conjured up an idea for business or for life, if you conceptualized something, then you already have within you everything to fulfill it. You have capacity to get it done. Okay, so let me break it down for you, because you're like, what? Is she like high? Yes, I'm high on quantum leaps. And what that means is, think about principles of quantum physics. It's called act of observation. So over 100 years ago, this really cool thing happened where the scientists were looking at particles and noticed that when they're looking at them, they behave one way. But when they're not looking at them, they do their own thing. All right. And what that means is that we actually collapse non-particle reality into what you perceive your life based on what you expect to see. All right. And what that means is that when they were looking at the particle called electron, it acted as a physical matter. But when they were not looking, it was doing its own thing, like a wave. You know, it was like having a good old time. But what that means is, bringing it back to Earth 101, is that when you decide, when you have vision that you want to run $1 million business, it's as if you were looking at those waves of light, the photonic waves, and you just told them, you know what? I need you to become physical business that I run. That's $1 million or more. And because you were the one observing them, then you have the gifts to fulfill that vision. Because if you didn't have the capacity, you would not even visualize it. Isn't it cool? Like, I can't visualize being a ballerina because I'm sorry, I'm way too old and that butt is not gonna go in the air, okay? And because I can't visualize it, I cannot be the ballerina doing all these things in the air. But if I had capacity, if my butt was slightly smaller, it's very possible that I would have that vision. So I want to inspire you to know and trust that if you decide in your business to accomplish something, you might not know yet how, but you have capacity to get there, which is the next principle of quantum physics. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. You just need to jump. You need to take that action, okay? Think of it as GPS. When you need to go from New York to LA and you program it in your car for the next 12 or 14 hours, are you going to memorize every twist and turn, every stop sign, every highway? Yeah? Let's see. Kathy says no. I guess the rest of you will try that? No. Okay, good, good. So the idea is you just have to figure out one step. I always teach in Unlock Your Success, don't overwhelm yourself with all of the things that need to be done. The power question number one is, what is one small step that you can take today towards that goal, towards that vision, towards that dream? And I bet you all can figure out one small step, right? So if you like that, put one small step or just step in the chat. Who's going to take one step? Or put number one. Put whatever you want, as long as you know what it is. Larry's typing. Okay, warm up the figures. Yes. And I promise I'm going to stop with the theory and we'll go into action. But there's so much more exciting stuff to talk about. You guys ready? All right. Here's the cool thing that I want to share with you. And that is that when you're quantum leaping, what helps my clients a lot is to adopt a new persona. In fact, I wrote an article about it on LinkedIn, so you can reference that, because in my coaching session with the client, she said, you know, I have this fearlessness around me. Even for my 65th, I think it was birthday, she jumped out of the plane, just parachuting down. But when it came to business, she was very timid. She was scared to take a big action. She was trying to play it safe. So I said to her, we're going to call her Mary to protect her identity. So I said, Mary, how did you feel when you were parachuting down? And she said, exhilarated. And I said, that was your first time. Did you know how you want to get down there? She says, no, but I was hoping I will. I had the vision. I knew where I was going, down, right? And I said, okay, well, you had the target and you knew where you want to end up. You allowed yourself to flow through this and take that leap of faith. What if you took that persona that's jumping out of the plane and adopt it in your life, in your business? What if you just put her in charge instead of the timid you? And I said, what would you like to call her? She said, the Daring Diva. And Daring Diva was born henceforth. So now I'm going to encourage you to ask yourself, what would the Daring Diva do in your business? What action would you take that you have not? Perhaps it's getting media publicity. Did you guys know that in Leadership Global, Zandra Evans has incredible opportunities to put you on TV? You can have your own show. You've got podcast. You can be interviewed by her. And all of these opportunities are at your fingertips. And if you need more information, just contact Linda. She'll share that with you. That is an example of quantum leaping. In fact, Linda suggested to me to hop on Friday in Women TV, which I have never done, and have a quantum leap in my life. So what do you say when the quantum leap is presented to you? What's the answer? Linda says, yes, exactly. You say yes before you're ready. So, camera, lights, and oh crap, big eyes open. I'm with the mic and I'm speaking. I'm like, I'll figure it out as I go down. I'm parachuting. I don't need to know. I just need to say yes. It will unfold itself. And that's the beauty of quantum shifts. You don't need to know what you're doing. Isn't that liberating? It is 100% okay to be like a deer in the headlights. It's okay to feel this squeeze in the stomach that says, oh, you're doing something different. Because how many of you have watched After Earth with Will Smith? Anyone? You know what? I will highly encourage that right after this, you rent the movie and you watch it. It's a most amazing movie about fear. It's about Will Smith with his son landing on a very dangerous planet. They are crashing. And now Will is dependent on his son to find the rescue. And in that movie, he teaches his son the difference between fear and danger. And he says, danger is clear and present, but fear is just imagination of something that has not happened, might not happen, or didn't happen. Why would we give that so much power? So when you look at your business, when you think about tactics that you could have taken and you shied away from, was it danger or was it fear that stopped you in your tracks? And most likely it was fear. So just become comfortable with it. There's no way to quantum leap without fear becoming your best buddy. But let it tell you that you're progressing. And that's what fear should be, a sign of progress. You're expanding. You're outside of your comfort zone. You're doing something different. You're scrambling 2 + 2. You're going for freaking 10. And it feels good. All right? So let's pause. And before we do individual tune-ups, let's see what questions do you have about what we've covered right now, or any comments, aha moments, major realizations. Let's get the party started. It's called Quantum Leaping Party. Who's in?
Well, we do have a question in the chat, and that is the movie name. So there are a couple of people that wanted the name of the movie with Will Smith that you mentioned.
And Kathy put it correctly. It's After Earth.
After Earth. Okay. Thank you. All right. Tracy.
Dagmar, that's wonderful. You've got my head's just like, pooh, yeah, right. I know that. I remember that. And all these things you just remind me about.
Congratulations. You're quantum leaping.
I know, it's fantastic. And I think what resonated with me the most about what you said is that for me, action's not a problem. I'm doing a lot of action. But it's like, you talked about sort of releasing things that aren't working. And my problem is that, how do you know? Is it just intuition? Because sometimes I think about, okay, if things didn't work for me, like I tried really, really hard and I did everything that I was told to do. And when, to have the confidence to actually let it go. Because the first thing that came into my head was, I'm not working hard enough. And of course, you said, if you think that, you're just going to get more of that. And so I just wanted your opinion on that. When do you know to actually let something go and that you've actually tried hard enough? You know what I mean?
Beautiful question. And thank you so much for asking it, because that's also my favorite thing. I came from an ex-communist country where I was programmed for hardship. We were told that struggle was good, poverty was virtue, keep your head down, just keep toiling the soil, and maybe one day you'll end up in heaven. Communist heaven for that, for fact, right? But that's just a program. And America is a capitalist country, and guess what? Hardship is still revered. People say, I work hard for my money. And the moment you want to take their hardship away, they'll fight for it. They're like, no, I'm working hard. Look at me. I deserve my money because I put on so many hours. There is also a religious program that somehow tells you that hardship leads to higher consciousness, because if it's easy, then you didn't earn it, right? So how do we detach from that? Well, one, hardship is hard because it has, part of the name, right? So what I do with me is that as soon as something becomes too labor intensive, I step back and I ask myself a question. Am I creating a result, or am I just creating hardship? And then I employ my other power question. So I already gave you guys power question number 1, which let's see who listened. Does anyone remember what was the power question number 1?
Emotions, attitudes, behaviors as a
Thank you.
reflection.
Yes, but that was a question that you can employ when you put in GPS where you're going and you don't know how you're going to get there. The power question number 1 is, what one small step can I take today? So you choose just portion of an elephant, which I hope you will not, because elephants are very nice guys. Okay. The power question number 2 to answer Tracy is, you guys ready? You're going to pay attention? You're going to write it down? The power question number 1 is, or number 2, why is it so easy? So, coming back, how do you know when you're maybe just going through the motions? If you keep putting a lot of effort and there is very little result, something is wrong, something is off. Cease and disease. I think that's what it's called. Right? So you need to stop and ask yourself a question. What is easier way to do it? So think back to my story of Facebook ads. I wasn't producing the results. I mean, it was just like constant refining and this and that, and I had nothing. I go to Eventbrite, I click one button that says advertise, and the clients are pouring in. Now that's easy. Now, I'm not affiliated with Eventbrite, and I'm not saying that that's going to work for everyone. But what I'm showing you is that I went away from hardship and steered towards easy, because we're not designed to struggle. What if you can have phenomenal result with very little effort, or very few results with lots of hardship? Which one are you going to choose? Surprisingly, a lot of people use hardship, and that's because we've got fears of being unworthy of success, undeserving. If your parents struggled, you will want to struggle too. It's even the way we honor them. We honor their journey. It takes us to break away from these patterns, to give ourselves permission to thrive. So thank you so much for that question. Does that help? Excellent. Again, very simple way to check yourself. I do this constantly because I am, guys, wait for it. I'm going to make it public. I'm a workaholic. My name is Dagmar and I am a workaholic. Just say hello, Dagmar.
Hello, Dagmar. And I knew that in the first 10 seconds of meeting you. Yes.
Yes, so thank you. So what I have to do is, that's what I do. I'm like, if I am in 12-hour day and I'm like, stop, Dagmar, stop. What you're doing, why you're doing it. Now, granted, a lot of times I write articles or you know, my creative juices are constantly flowing and I want to capture it as it goes. But again, if it does not give you joy, needs to be removed, replaced with something that does. Okay, it's simple. Our source creator put us on an easy path of knowing what works and what doesn't. You like what you're doing, most likely you're in an energetic, emotional, and mental alignment with what you're supposed to do. You don't like what you're doing, that's a big red flag. It's telling you that something is off. Today, for example, I had a session with the client, and we're going to jump right into your breakthroughs, who said, you know, I've got this program. It is 6 months long. It's focusing on spiritual entrepreneurship. And, you know, on paper is all beautiful. I can feel that whoever designed it for her, you know, put some thought to it. But my client's energy was flat. And I knew that was not her destiny. And she says, you know, I can't enroll anyone. Well, how could she? We're the magnets, right? So what we put out is what we attract. When we're not in alignment energetically with our vision, when we're sitting here, who's recruiting? It's an empty house, right? So I said to her, what else you're passionate about? And she told me, you know, I've been passionate about working with naturopathic practitioners. Her energy went berserk. And I said, what you waiting for? Let's put you in a driver's seat of that purpose. And she immediately lit up. And she was like, you know what? You're right. This is what I want to do. You see, sometimes you give yourself permission to go after your passion, which, by the way, is the next quantum leap principle. You have to be passionate about what you do. You need to love it, because you're going to scramble your routine. You're going to put yourself in uncharted territory. You'll be swimming to unknown destination. So love the journey. Love the landscape that are passing you by. All right. Any more questions, or is there anything that you're struggling with in business that you would like to jump into a hot seat for, so I can help you identify why it's happening and, most importantly, how to get you out of it? Let's give you a quantum boost. And I'm not scary. Hi, Rachel.
Hi. So it's nighttime over here, so I'm kind of in my pajamas, but it's great to be here.
Wonderful. Where are you tuning in from?
I'm tuning in from England.
Oh, fabulous. I used to live in London, so.
Lovely.
So what's going on with you, Rachel?
So what's going on with me? So I think Linda knows this already. I have this amazing, I've designed an amazing, I love it. I think it's an amazing program. I actually take myself through my own program. It's a healing program that I have created so that I don't have to just keep seeing all my clients one-to-one, because it's very hard to help everybody one-to-one. So I created this most amazing program that people can take themselves through and literally heal themselves, their blocks, their traumas, and expand their energy into their next level of themselves. And I'm like, why the hell aren't thousands of people jumping into this? Like, I would be jumping into it if I could. I am my own client and I listen to it the whole time. So it's like, and I guess what's not working is somehow finding the right people to become part of it. Am I making any sense? And I have to say, I sit and I think I'm sick of Facebook. I'm sick. You know, just like more Facebook. I just feel like there needs to be another way, and I don't know what that is yet. But that's how so I love the program. It's not that I don't have energy for that. It's more like, the way of bringing people in feels like, it feels heavy. That's where I feel I'm at with it. I see lots of people nodding their heads, so maybe it's not just me. Yes.
All right, so multiple things. One, the strongest vibration in what you're saying is working. Okay, so we're going to get into that in a second. You've got a little bit of a disappointment going on, and then you will completely put your identity into the program. So now it's about you, not about them.
So explain that. So when you say it's about me and not about them, what do you mean? That's really interesting.
Yeah, so in my Rock Your Sales workshops, I teach entrepreneurs to detach what they are providing from their
Okay.
persona. Okay.
Okay.
Now, as business owners, we birth our babies. The business is the baby. It is your creation. It's everything that you represent, your passions, your values, your qualities. And when people reject that, meaning they don't
Yes.
sign up, they rejected you.
Yes. I love
That's
it.
why you've got
Yeah.
disappointment and you've got this entangling yourself with your own business. So now we're buying Rachel with all her life experiences, all her triumphs, all her disappointments, and that's a lot of energy for a client to walk into.
Mm.
So I'll give you an example. I've by now read thousands of people in the last 15 years. I have clients that tell me their stories, their deepest secrets, the unresolved wounds. I delete those files from my brain, from my psyche, so that I don't hold that energy. My job is to help them shift. They are in point A, they need to get to Z. What's the fastest way to get them? Quantum leap them there, right? But once I took you across the river, I detach. I'm no longer part of the journey. In fact, I don't remember any details. A lot of times, because I do so many sessions, that somebody will come to my Financial Freedom Unleashed workshop. I'll spend 5 hours working on their money consciousness, which are really just childhood traumas. And then I don't even remember you were in a workshop with me. And they're disappointed. But what they don't understand is that I can't hold 1,000 people's energies. I am a facilitator, not the holder of their life. So do you facilitate? Because you put the word work. And if it's work, who wants work? Right? So what if your program is just something that you do to help clients transform as opposed to its work? 15 years later, I still can't believe people pay me for what I do because I never see it as work. Probably that's why I do so much of it, right? Because I love it. I love everything related to it. I love new marketing strategies. I love ClickFunnels. I love writing articles. I love writing chapters. I'm like, what else haven't I done? Oh, empowerment awards. Yeah, I've got nothing on my plate. Let's just add that one, right? So I'm constantly seeking a way to satisfy my passion, but I rarely see it as work. So you've two energies going.
I don't see, like, when I'm in it. So when it's interesting what you said, like, so when I'm working, I say when I'm with clients or when I'm delivering sessions, to me, that's not work. That's me. That's like my passion. And that, a bit like you, I come out from a session, I detach from it so that I don't take their stuff on board. What I do see as work, I suppose, really is probably the other side of things, like the marketing, the advertising, the putting it out there, like bringing people on board, I suppose, is where I would see the work. And that's maybe where the energy gets stuck.
So I'm going to come to this one, or you know what, I'll address this one really fast, but I want to address a major thing that you started with, which we're peeling the onion. So I wanted to first peel the outer before I hit you with the inner one.
Yeah.
Right? So
I love it.
So just to address, hold on a second, because I'm holding the pattern and my brain went into another, so I need to not lose it. Where was taking you? Oh, next quantum principle for quantum shift that I almost forgot, but I hinted on. We have to spring into action. And I see a lot of my clients come to me with this naivete I'm not speaking about you, I'm speaking about some of my clients that expect that, it's the old Cinderella complex. I'm just going to sit here and the knight will just drop on a white horse on a concrete because there are no beaches around, and I'll be ready, right? But in business, we do have to do these things. They are a natural part of expanding, especially when the bigger the business, the more aspects of it you need to handle. So action will always follow expansion, because we can't manifest just in the mental body. I mean, I can visualize, but there's this joke that people pray to God saying, I want to win $1 million. I want to have $1 million. Please, please. Why am I not winning $1 million? I won $1 million. And God says, well, could you get a ticket? Because there's a lottery drawing tomorrow. You need to leave the house. You need to buy the ticket because you want me to send you money, right? So we do need to take action. But I want to come back to something you energetically said. And at the beginning, you said, why don't they? How did you phrase it? Essentially, you were disappointed that they are not. I don't want to put my words into you. So could you say this again?
Why I can't remember exactly what I said. Why aren't people just jumping into it? Why aren't they just like,
yeah, and you said why wouldn't? You specifically used the word would. So why wouldn't they jump into it, right? That's what you said. Okay, Rachel, so I'm gonna ask you now, why wouldn't they?
So that's actually, why wouldn't they jump? Just thinking. They don't know if they can afford it, maybe.
Okay, so let's come from a different route. So sometimes when you try to enter the house, if the front door doesn't work, we go for the patio door. So the question is, what are you waiting for, Rachel?
Wow. Hold on. What am I waiting for?
Or what reservations do you have about working with them?
Wow. Okay, that's so interesting, because certainly in the group program, I don't literally have reservations because they self-lead themselves through it. So I'm not seeing them individually all the time, if that makes sense. I don't actually know the answer to that, Dagmar.
Well, we'll take you there, but what I would like to gently show, and by the way, thank you so much for volunteering, because it takes courage, and you're showing quantum leaping right now in action, right? I don't know where I'm gonna end up, but I'm doing it. So congratulations. Everything in our life is a reflection of our inner reality. So it's not that the clients are not coming to you, it's just something's not working. And all we are doing is we're investigating what's not working. And it's okay not to know. That's why I call Linda when I don't know, right? And so can you. But that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to figure out, is it emotional? Emotional could be like imposter syndrome, or I don't know if I'm not ready. That's a lot of responsibility. Mental pattern could be, am I expert enough? Can I truly own my result? Will I really get them to the other side of the river, right? It could be energetic. Something happened to you in your childhood where you put a lot of eggs in a basket and they all got broken. So what we're doing is we're allowing you to open up to that awareness. And I'm getting sense that it's not the clients, it's just you're getting yourself ready. So let me ask you a different question. Again, we tried the patio, we tried the front door, let's try the window. what would make you feel confident about receiving clients right away?
Confident about receiving clients.
In other words, you would be okay with having a lot of clients.
Yeah, I would love it. Totally.
Well, not now, because you unconsciously push them away.
Exactly. I think what comes up for me is I think to hands is what's coming through now is that I don't value there may be well be something around that I don't value enough the program that I've created, therefore I'm not charging enough, therefore the right people aren't dropping into it, because I'm actually trying to attract people who I think can afford it, yet those people will never pay for it because they don't believe they're worthy of paying it, therefore I need to put the price up.
Well, again, thank you for saying that. It's let's really summarize what you're really saying. You're not comfortable with the price point for your own program. So you've created a lot of excuses to give yourself time to figure it out. So here's what I would suggest that you do is first, people never pay for what you think it is worth. They pay what the value of the transformation that they receive is. Again, that's something I teach in Rock Your Sales. They don't buy you, they don't buy the program, they buy the transformation. That transformation has certain price point for them. And when you trust the transformation that you offer, then it is a no-brainer for people to work with you. And if it's within their budget, they will. Okay? So what happens is it's a new program for you. You have not tested yourself. So there is hesitation around, can I get them there? You know, I always show this idea. The client is on one side of a shore, their outcome is on the other side. You're the courier, you're the guide, you're the one that has a boat to take them from one side to another. You don't quite fully yet, you're not sure you can get them there. Make sense? So while you're figuring this out, you're creating a buffer zone, and it's convenient that the clients are not coming so that they cannot challenge you with that transformation. All right? But let me ask you this, Rachel. Have you ever done this with anyone, like a family member or a friend?
I've had a whole cohort go through it already.
All right. Did they have a positive result?
Yeah.
All right. So what is there to doubt?
Nothing.
Then stop. Go back to your cohort and ask them to write you testimonials and have a conversation. Just call your client and say, hey, listen, I'm just doing some, recap. I really want to understand what really worked for you. What were the aspects of the program that you enjoyed? How did it affect you? And some days people, my programs are so transformational because we delete your current operating program and upload the new one, that my clients sometimes need 5-6 months just to figure out how they changed, how they upshifted, what actions have they taken that they never thought about. So if your cohort has already passed and you've got some time frame from the program until now, it's perfect because they had time to observe the change. And then trust your clients. I don't have to trust me. I trust my clients. When people come to my program, I tell them that you will graduate. You all, no matter how resistant you are, how gung-ho you are, into that transformation, I've got a 15-year track record of everyone stepping from one side of the river to the other. So I don't have to question my ability. I just allow my client to figure out if they want to take that journey, right? So take yourself out of the equation. It's never about you. When the guide puts this person on the boat, the person's always focused on the destination. You're just a facilitator, right? So I hope that helps you understand that it's not the clients that don't want to come over and work with you. It's just you needed to give yourself time to grow into it. And that's, by the way, 100% okay. And then just the last thing on the pricing, start with the price that you feel comfortable with, that you believe provides the value in the transformation, and then just increase it 5%, 10% every few months until you reach the value that you stand so confidently in that no one gets the doubt frequency from you. You need to own your expertise and transformation. Was that helpful?
Really. Thank you. Thank you, Dagmar. That was brilliant.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And you know, we all have the same problems. We all have the same challenges. How many of you could relate to what Rachel was saying? Yeah, I see you all nodding. And that's the thing, you know, nobody is an alpha and omega. We're not supposed to be. But it's very good to have a brain that is programmed for finding solution instead of dwelling on obstacles. And that's something that we do in Unlock Your Success in our master classes. In fact, I just want to quickly drop a link in the chat. I've got an event coming up. It's a complimentary master class on unlocking your money story. So if you would like to attend, the link will be in the chat. And as I hinted before, it's never about money. It's always about what were we exposed to? Thinking communism, telling me that poverty is great. Like, how is that great? How has it worked out for anyone, right? We need to understand what's going on in the head and pull out those weeds. And those weeds are just emotional attachments to the stories that we've been told and we later weaved into our own perception. All right, who else would like to jump on a hot seat? I promise I won't bite.
What do you want to do on the hot seat?
Wonderful. All right, Kathy, what's going on?
Oh, good question. And actually, in thinking about a lot of the things you were saying, it kind of helped me to reflect back over the progress that I have made over the last few years on all of this stuff. And part of this conversation too, in my previous life, I used to be in financial planning. And so much of the way you're taught to do that job is just hunting, get more, go get more. And when I was in it, I didn't understand why I felt so bad and almost angry with it. And now I see that it goes completely against how I attract clients. So rather than hunting them, to me, it has to be around an energetic attraction of people and attracting the right people. And I think with what Rachel was saying too, I think it kind of plays into that shift in, we're not just out there looking for people, we're doing things that attract people to us.
Mm-hmm. So what is the challenge?
I would actually say right now, I don't have a specific challenge. I just thought I would throw it in there.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, thank you. And by the way, Kathy, you have very soft energy. It's very motherly. meaning like very nurturing, very comforting. So I can totally see how that environment would be super distracted for you.
Exactly. I'm just glad I figured it out and got out of there.
And I don't know how many of you guys have had the opportunity to meet Larry, but Larry is a new friend of mine from down under. So she is joining us from Australia. And she's in, I would say, a period of transition in her business. So, and maybe in her life. So, Larry, not to put you on the hot spot, but I would love to see what Dagmar is able to discern from kind of where you are and where you're going, and give you a sense of, I don't know, confidence that you're heading in a really positive direction. Because what I know in our last 2 or 3 conversations, it's just been a very tumultuous time for you. It's been a really difficult, tumultuous time with an awful lot of change, both personally and professionally, that I think would be difficult for a lot of people to kind of find their way. And so, not to put you on the hot seat, you certainly don't have to, but I just want to invite you to, speak with Dagmar and see what kind of direction might come up and how she might be able to reassure you and provide additional confidence for you.
Oh, Linda. I so appreciated Rachel and Kathy's questions. I was like, yes, I can relate to it and I don't have to speak. So, Dagmar, where do I even start, Linda? Yes, I love your quantum leap. I do, and I resonate with it intellectually. I understand it, but in my turmoil, I see it as a river and with stepping stones, and it's kind of picking what step I need to take for the next step. Linda, am I sort of perhaps portraying it correctly for Dagmar to make sense? So it's to me, and there's lots that you say is right. I almost need to simplify. I've looked at, so where I've come from, Dagmar, is coaching, professional coaching and leadership coaching. And a little bit like I resonated with the fact that I'm less of a one-to-one. I like working one to a couple, so more intimate, but in a group. And so it was about scaling it and well-being. I come a little bit like Linda. I come from an athlete background. I love that. And energy, Dagmar, which I think is important to you, I've learned through my adversity how understanding energy emotionally, physically, body, mind, and spirit has been so important to me. So I started at the beginning of the year going, right, it's about well-being, leadership and well-being. And I think I started tripping myself up on the framework on how to get there. And then a couple of personal things came and hit me from the side, and I just kind of went, right now, I think I just got to deal with the personal. So I'm just putting my toes back in the water going, I got to catch the stepping stone again. So I am scattered, I admit. And Linda, yes, you put me on the spot. I sort of wanted to come here just to get a taste, because I felt a little unconfident speaking because of where I'm scattered. Because
No, there is no incompetence. And Larry, I appreciate you stepping forward and just sharing what you did, because I guarantee Dagmar will be able to support you and help you along your journey. And listen, we all are in places at times where we need the sage advice and wisdom and the lived experience of other women around us to give us sound counsel. And I trust Dagmar, and I trust her to provide this for you. And I care for you a lot. So I want to make sure that you really are able to receive the benefit of Dagmar's wisdom. So I'm going to be quiet now and let Dagmar work with you.
Thanks, Linda.
And I'm also going to turn off the recording. Don't worry, none of this will be shared, by the way. I should have stopped the recording earlier. We're not going to share any of the personal Q&A.